that?
Well, that's probably Well, good evening, everyone. It's 7 o'clock, and I'd like to call the December 2nd, 2014 meeting of the Whitehall City Council together to order. Together also, we're all here in one big group for the purpose of considering such matters that come before it. I'm going to ask everyone to please rise for a moment of silence. Remain standing for the pledge. Thank you. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Burton, please call the roll.
Bailey?
Here.
Rodriguez? Gregg?
Here.
Coniston?
Here.
Tanner?
Present.
LaPorte?
President.
Morrison?
Here.
And President Grant.
Present.
Mr. President, move to excuse the absent member.
Second. A motion by Mr. Bailey and a second by Mr. Gregg to excuse the absent member. Mr. President, please call the roll.
Bailey?
Yes.
Gregg?
Yes.
Coniston?
Yes.
Tanner?
Yes.
LaPorte?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes. The absent member has been excused. Next on our agenda, we have our approval of minutes for November 18, 2014, the agenda and regular meeting.
President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of November 18th. Second.
A motion by Ms. Thompson and a second by Ms. LaCourte for the approval of the November 18 agenda and regular meeting. Ms. Burton, please call the roll.
Bailey?
Yes.
Gregg?
Yes.
Coniston?
Yes.
Tanner?
Yes.
LaPorte?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes. The minutes have been approved. It's our first opportunity for poll public. If anyone would like to address council, step forward. You have up to 3 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record.
Hello everyone, my name is Eric D. Hayes. I'm with Local Waste Services. I'm at 4828 Bixby Ridge Drive in Groveport, Ohio. And I would like to first to say thank you for the opportunity to speak to all of you tonight. We really appreciate the business that we've done with the City of Whitehall for allowing Local Waste Services to provide trash and recycling service to the city since 2011. Local Waste is in the process of converting our fleet over to compressed natural gas trucks. Some of you may have noticed this already, that there are very few, if any, emissions coming out of these vehicles. They're rated at almost a zero emission. This also enables Local Waste to buy natural gas produced in the U.S. instead of relying on foreign oil. This will also help us keep costs down in the future as diesel prices go up. You may or may not know, as our name would imply, we're the only locally owned hauler left in Columbus. Every dime spent with Local Waste Services stays in this local economy. As a member of Consortium 2, the City of Whitehall, there is a provision in the contract that provides for a 2-year extension. That is what I would like to discuss tonight. Most of the other members have already signed this extension. Some of the communities that have signed are Sharon, Pleasant, Franklin, and Clinton townships, as well as Valley View and Bryce. And we would like Whitehall to do the same. From what I understand, everyone is very happy with the service. We work very closely with your code enforcement people that they can call us anytime if they ever have any issues. At the end of the 2-year extension, our price will still be far less than other communities in Columbus. We take a lot of pride in providing excellent service to the communities that we service. We work closely with your code enforcement to make sure that we do provide the level of service I hope you're accustomed to. We hope to have these extensions completed by the end of the year. Our promise to Whitehall is that we will remain committed to being a good vendor, and we look forward to working with you all as valued and satisfied customers. And I'm wondering, does anyone have any issues regarding trash and recycling? I don't hear very many.
These drivers are really very polite.
Good.
Very polite.
Good. We like to hear that. So.
For myself, I can say the service is very good.
Good. Well, I just met Mr. Woodruff tonight, and I'll be following up with him and perhaps address council at a later date as well. So.
Mr. Hayes, I would like to say that I have called your office several times with issues arising out of residents and their concerns, and every time the response was tremendous, professional, and equitable for both parties. And
Wonderful. We can't ask for better comments.
I just want to thank you and let you know.
We appreciate that. As a local hauler,
It's an excellent job.
thank you. I will make sure I let them know. As a locally owned company, we have to do this better than the national companies. Absolutely, because they could buy us tomorrow, so that's not going to happen. So, thank you so much.
Is there anyone? Please step forward. State your name.
Leo Noblock, 353 Fairway Boulevard, Whitehall. I want to talk to you about the white elephant in the room, and that's actually the ramp out back. I measured it today. I looked up the 88 code, and it says that it's supposed to be 1 inch going down for every 12 inches going out. 12-to-1 ratio. It says you could get to a 10-to-1 ratio, but you're also supposed to have a landing area every 10 feet for rest. It's a 9-to-1. It's very steep, very hard for people to get up into this building. I believe Carol can attest to that. Sometimes it's like a race, or it's just a slalom trying to get out. I know I'm a little late with budget and stuff like that, but it would really be great if we could fix that so that, especially we have a lot of elderly folks that don't get around so well, so they can get into the building. Of course, the other part is there's no button to open up the front door for those people in a wheelchair. It's very hard for them to get in and out of the buildings. I didn't measure the toilets, but I think they're not high enough, as high as they're supposed to be. I didn't really realize this before, but someone I know actually got stuck in the toilet for several hours until they can get someone to help them out because the seat was too low and they couldn't lift themselves up. So I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention again. We're doing a lot. The room looks great. Love the chairs. Heck of a lot better than it was before. But I think we can do some more and make it so that all of our citizens get in here and do what they need to do with the city. That's it. Thank you.
We certainly want to make sure that everything's ADA compliant.
Right.
Yes, I asked Dave Long to look at this issue a few months back, and I do have a report from him about what needs to be done. And actually, that ramp was there as well as with more handicap parking and also the buttons on the doors.
Oh, okay, great.
So we're going to be looking at that.
Great.
I assure you.
Yeah, because it does get very scary for some people to
Oh, absolutely.
go down it. Thank you.
Well, I'm sure the ramp was probably put in before there was any ADA requirements. And
It was put in when Bishop was mayor.
yeah, so there really wasn't anything.
Right.
I mean, they put it in as a very nice gesture to
Yeah.
assist. But now there's rules and regulations, and sometimes things just get a little overlooked. I appreciate you bringing
It was actually put in '76, because that's when my dad was in a wheelchair and came in here and asked Mr. Bishop to try to go down that thing in a wheelchair. It used to be worse, by the way. They fixed it and made it better, but thanks.
All right, thank you. Is there there anyone else who would like to take advantage of the poll public this evening? All right, well, you have one more opportunity for the end of the meeting. That brings us to our standing committee reports, and we shall begin with administration and financial management.
Thank you, Mr. President. Administration and Financial Management, did last Tuesday, our minutes are on file, and our main topic of discussion was 2015 budget, which I think everybody is pleased with. We will meet again next Tuesday, sometime after 6:30 in the back room.
All right, thank you, sir. Next is community engagement, Chairperson Coniston.
Thank you, President Graham. Community engagement met last week. Our minutes are on file. We'll meet again next week sometime after 6:30 in the back.
Thank you. Next is community standards and enforcement, Chairperson Rodriguez. He's unable to attend the meeting this evening. However, the committee did meet last Tuesday. Minutes are on file in the council office, and they do have one piece of legislation this evening coming before us. They shall also meet again next Tuesday sometime after 6:30. Next, we have economic development, Chairperson LaPorte.
Thank you, Mr. President. Economic Development also met last Tuesday. Our minutes are on file. Nothing was actually brought up in my committee, but I hope to be speaking with Zach some this week and seeing him for some more updates and stuff. So other than that, we're going to meet again next Tuesday sometime after 6:30 in the back.
All right, infrastructure maintenance and services, Chairperson Gray.
Thank you, Mr. President. Infrastructure maintenance service also met last Tuesday. Our minutes are on file, and we'll meet again sometime in the back after 6:30 next week.
Thank you, sir. Public safety, Chairperson Morrison.
Thank you, Mr. President. Public safety also met last Tuesday. We have nothing on the agenda. General discussion, safety of the city, and minutes on file, and we will meet again sometime after 6:30 in the back next week.
All right. Parks and Rec, Recreation, Chairperson Cannon.
Thank you, Mr. President. Parks and Recreation met last week, and our minutes are on file. We discussed the Parks and Rec Commission, and the director will be here next Tuesday to present to council our master plan. It's long overdue, and we've worked really hard on it. We anticipate very good things out of it. We also discussed that tomorrow evening, my committee, which will include Mr. Gray, Mr. Constant, as a court, myself will be interviewing 5 people for the appointments of the Parks and Recreation Department. We also discussed the recommendations for the school board, and Mayor Magner also has a recommendation this year, an appointment this year, right? Okay. Other than that, that's it. We'll meet again next week in the back after 6:30.
All right, thank you. Those are all the reports from the committees. We will now move to our officials' reports, and we'll begin with our mayor, Mr. Chairman.
Good evening. I have no official report tonight. We just want to thank everyone for coming out for the ceremony. And just want to say thank you for everyone who showed up for that. And I hope you like the new decorations. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from our city attorney, Mr. Mike Shannon.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the council. I have no report this evening. Thank you.
All righty. Next up will be our auditor, Mr. Dan Miller.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also have no official report, though I would like to ask for favorable considerations on ordinance 84 and 92 and resolution 51.
All right, thank you, sir. Next, we'll have our interim director of public service, Mr. Zach Woodruff, and also our director of development. So,
thank you.
Thank
you, Mr. President. Just wanted to make members of council aware that we are out because we haven't had snow this week. We are out wrapping up leaf pickup. We will wrap that up at the end of the week. And so we are doing our best to make one last pass throughout the entire city. And that is all the report that I have this evening, although I would ask for favorable consideration for ordinance 80 and 81. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, we have our Director of Public Safety, Mr. Chuck Underwood.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of council. I have no official report, but I would like you to be aware that post 490, the American Legion donated $250 each to the police department and the fire department.
All right, that brings us to our treasurer, Mr. Brent Howard.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of council. I too have no official report this evening. However, on a personal note, I would like to say that I am a very proud, happy grandfather as of November 4th. So, the beautiful little girl
And that's a very nice report. You actually have the best report of the year.
I think so too. A little biased, but okay.
All right. We have no officials reports this evening, so we will move on to our communications, petitions, and claims. And we have the 2 items listed on the agenda, and we have received no additional items since the agenda was prepared. That brings us to our public hearing on ordinance 81, 2014. It's amending the zoning map attached to chapter 1122 of the 1970 codified ordinances of the city of Whitehall, Ohio, and as subsequently amended, changing the zoning on property located 4801 East Broad Street from General Commerce District to Exceptional Use, property owned by Whitehall Assisted Living, LLC, and declaring an emergency. So at this time, I would ask for any proponents, please come forward and tell us what you have for us this evening.
President Graham, Bill Mingo with Wallach Communities. I know we've had some earlier meetings to discuss the adaptive reuse of the existing Ramada Hotel. Randall Woodings is our architect with Condigianis. Todd Gable's my associate at Wallach. I'll just give you a quick overview. I think if anybody would have questions, we'll entertain and try to answer those the best we can. Adaptive reuse of the Ramada at the corner of Broad and Hamilton. And we've talked about this. I've got a picture of the existing Ramada. This is for you back audience here. This is the Hamilton Road view of the Ramada as it stands now. This is the architectural rendering of what it will look like as we redevelop the property into 100. Right now it's 146 hotel rooms, and it'll end up being 131 units of assisted living housing for the elderly. There'll be 99 studios and 32 one-bedroom units. We are in contract on the property. We're scheduled to close on the property in December and mobilize and start construction in January. It'll take about 14 months to complete the renovation, and it's pretty well a good overview. If anybody has any questions, we'd be happy to answer those. Anyone out there?
I will say, just for everyone out in the audience, several of us have been through several of the presentations, and they went through everything very thoroughly. I can't speak for everyone, but I know for myself, I'm very impressed with the drawings and the plan of what they're going to do. I think it's going to look really good on Hamilton Road and on Broad Street. It's going to be a very nice addition to our city. So,
President, I should have mentioned our total development budget is $17,300,000 on the property, and we're estimating it will generate about Overall, 65 jobs, about 40 will be full-time and 25 part-time jobs.
Awesome.
I have one question, it might be a silly one, but as it sits right now, the Ramada sits up like on Little Hill, like on Hamilton Road. That's gonna be flat to Hamilton Road, is that correct?
Right now, I think the grade's maybe 4 feet above Hamilton.
Correct. There's a small knee, you're referring to the small knee wall that starts at the edge of the
Yes,
sidewalk
exactly.
and goes up to the parking lot.
Correct.
There's a small knee wall, and what we'll do is we'll probably grade down toward that because we're taking all that parking lot out now,
Right.
and it's just going to be grass and trees, so we don't have to hold that grade up to hold the parking
With a
anymore.
gradual slope down.
Yeah, gradual
And
slope
there's a
down.
fence.
Correct.
And then that's down the bottom.
That's okay.
All right, so typically we don't allow questions from the audience, but this is a really big deal. So I did see someone out there that has a question.
Yeah, no, maybe I have two questions. What is the population served? And also, you mentioned 60 jobs. Will there be an extra effort to hire from within Whitehall?
Sure, I can talk to that. Typically, we have 2 assisted livings currently, and our population is generally 65 and over, and individuals that are in need of at least one, of assistance with one activity of daily living, whether that's bathing, dressing, grooming, medication administration, and always our goal is to hire from within the community. So as we begin to finalize construction, we'll start having local job fairs and driving interested individuals in the community into our building so we can do the hiring. And we're looking, so typically we're staffing nurses, nursing assistants, cooks, housekeeping, maintenance, sales and marketing, operations, receptionists. So a wide variety of different skills, not just the skill set that's right now in that hotel is pretty limited, so.
And Todd, you mentioned, because you management of our facilities here in Columbus, what 65 is going to target is, what's our average age of the facilities right now?
Oh, about 80, around 86, and usually 80% of the population are elderly ladies. But the average age is about 86, that's right.
I think it's beautiful, and I think it will add to Whitehall and all that it has, and I'm just looking forward to seeing it come to fruition.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
Mr. President, I don't have a question, but I'm sorry, Leo. Go ahead.
Are you gonna have gates for parking or anything like that? The only reason why I ask is because you might have a problem with the building next door to you that does party rentals and everything else, because they really don't have a whole lot of parking. I don't know if you thought about addressing that or.
Yeah, good question.
Let's see. Right here where we have this little gatehouse,
Yes.
we will have a gate.
Oh, okay, okay.
And that way people can't come in. We thought about people going through on Broad Street,
Yeah,
coming
they do
in.
that.
and
Yeah,
out.
cut
So we're trying to
off the
control,
light.
we're trying to control
and stuff.
traffic. Right.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
I will say one thing, that everything that we have seen is very well thought out plan. They've looked at traffic, they've looked at, having a lot of green space, as much green space as they, in fact, turning a lot of the parking lot into green space. They pretty much addressed, I can't imagine anything that they haven't taken a look at and come up with some type of solution for it. So, any other questions?
Not so much a question, Mr. President. I did want to make council aware that at the November school board meeting, the school board unanimously voted to pass a resolution waiving their share of the income tax. So that, as we've talked about at numerous occasions, it makes the project financially feasible for the city. And so I just wanted to make you all aware of that fact prior to not necessarily voting on the zoning, but voting on ordinance 80, 2014, the tax abatement. So you've had all those pieces of information prior to your vote.
All right.
very much.
And I will now ask if there are any opponents to ordinance 81, 2014. All right, seeing none, I will now close our public hearing on 81, 2014, and we'll move on to our verification of copies. Mr. Kirkland, please call the roll on whether each member of council is given a copy of each item of legislation listed on the agenda prior to the meeting and including any add-on legislation.
Bailey?
Yes.
Gregg?
Yes.
Coniston?
Yes.
Tanner?
Yes.
LaCourt?
Yes.
Yes.
Morrison?
All right, very good. So we'll begin with our ordinances and resolutions for the evening, and we'll start with third readings. We have ordinance 80, 2014. It's to authorize the provision of certain tax exemptions within the Hamilton Road District Community Reinvestment Area for the purpose of encouraging economic development within the area and authorizing the execution of the related Community Reinvestment Area Agreement.
Mr. President, I'd like to introduce ordinance 80, 2014, and move for its adoption. Second.
I have a motion by Ms. LaCourt and a second by Ms. Coniston for adoption of ordinance 80, 2014. Questions or comments? I will mention that this is the ordinance that Zach was referring to at the close of the public hearing. So, Ms. Churchman, please call the roll.
Bailey?
Yes.
Gregg?
Yes.
Coniston?
Yes.
Tanner?
Yes.
LaCourt?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Ordinance 80, 2014 has been adopted. Next, we have ordinance 81, 2014. It's amending the zoning map attached to chapter 1122 of the 1970 codified ordinances of the city of Whitehall, Ohio, and as subsequently amended, changing the zoning on property located 4801 East Broad Street from general commerce district to exceptional use property owned by Whitehall Assisted Living LLC and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I'd like to introduce ordinance 81, 2014, and move to adopt.
Second?
A motion by Mr. Bailey and a second by Mr. Gregg for introduction and adoption of ordinance 81, 2014. Questions or comments? Ms. Churchman, please call the roll.
Bailey?
Yes.
Gregg?
Yes.
Coniston?
Yes.
Tanner?
Yes.
LaCourt?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Ordinance 81, 2014 has been adopted. Congratulations, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Those are all the items we have under third reading. Under second reading, we begin with ordinance 84, 2014. It's making and approving a fund transfer in the amount of $4,852.90 from the fiscal year 2011 JAG grant fund to the general fund and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I'd like to introduce ordinance 84, 2014, and move for suspension of all rules.
Second?
I have a motion by Mr. Bailey and a second by Mr. Morrison for introduction and suspension of all rules on ordinance 84, 2014. Questions or comments? This came up after our meetings. Ms. Churchman, please call the roll.
Bailey?
Yes.
Gregg?
Yes.
Coniston?
Yes.
Tanner?
Yes.
LaCourt?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
The rules have been suspended on ordinance 84, 2014.
Move to adopt.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Bailey, second by Mr. Morrison for adoption of ordinance 84, 2014. Ms. Churchman, please call the roll.
Bailey?
Yes.
Gregg?
Yes.
Coniston?
Yes.
Tanner?
Yes.
LaCourt?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Ordinance 84, 2014 has been adopted. Our next ordinance is 88, 2014. It's making an appropriation for certain special revenue, internal service, and fiduciary accounts for the calendar year 2015 in a total sum of $9,405,558.03 and declaring an emergency. That ordinance is being read by title only. Next, we have ordinance 89, 2014, amending various sections of chapter 135 of the Administrative Code and adding 135.23 Life Cycle Replacement Fund and 135.24 Economic Development Incentives Fund and declaring an emergency. That ordinance is being read by title only. Next is ordinance 90, 2014. It's making appropriations for the current general fund expenses for the current general fund, street expenses and state highway materials expenses during the period from January 1, 2015 to December 31, 2015 in the total sum of $28,109,117 and declaring an emergency. That ordinance is being read by title only. Next is ordinance 91, 2014. It's amending sections 161.38 of the codified ordinances of the city of Whitehall, Ohio, titled Salary Schedule, 135.14 titled Tax Auditor Part-Time, 145.02 titled Duties of Chief Building Inspector, 145.09 titled Building Inspector Full-Time, and 131.02 titled Director of Information Technology, and 161.37 titled Table of Authorized Personnel and declaring an emergency. That ordinance is being read by title only. It is also the last ordinance we have under second reading. Under first reading, we begin with ordinance 92, 2014. It's approving and making an appropriation transfer in the amount of $5,000 from the police and fireman pension account to the income tax refunds account and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I introduce ordinance 92, 2014, move for suspension of all rules.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Bailey and a second by Mr. Morrison for the introduction and suspension of rules on ordinance 92, 2014. Questions or comments? Ms. Churchman, please call the roll.
Bailey?
Yes.
Gregg?
Yes.
Coniston?
Yes.
Tanner?
Yes.
McCourt?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
The rules have been suspended on ordinance 92, 2014.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Bailey, second by Mr. Morrison for adoption of ordinance 92, 2014. Ms. Churchman, please call the roll.
Bailey?
Yes.
Gregg?
Yes.
Coniston?
Yes.
Tanner?
Yes.
McCourt?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Ordinance 92, 2014 has been adopted. Next, we have Resolution 51, 2014. It's resolving to approve vetting out certificates and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I'd like to introduce resolution 51, 2014, move for suspension of the rules.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Bailey and a second by Mr. Morrison for the introduction and suspension of rules on Resolution 51, 2014. Questions or comments? Ms. Churchman, please call the roll.
Bailey?
Yes.
Gregg?
Yes.
Coniston?
Yes.
Tanner?
Yes.
McCourt?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
The rules have been suspended on Resolution 51, 2014.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Bailey, second by Mr. Morrison for adoption of Resolution 51, 2014. Ms. Churchman, please call the roll.
Bailey?
Yes.
Gregg?
Yes.
Coniston?
Yes.
Tanner?
Yes.
McCourt?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Resolution 51, 2014 has been adopted. That is the last of our resolution and ordinances for this evening. I would now entertain a motion for approval of the civil service rule changes made by the Civil Service Commission on November 13, 2014.
Mr. President, I'd like a motion to approve the rule changes as voted on and submitted by the Civil Service Commission on November 13, 2014.
Second.
That's a motion by Mr. Bailey and a second by Ms. McCourt for approval of the civil service rule changes. Questions or comments? Ms. Churchman, please call the roll.
Bailey?
Yes.
Gregg?
Yes.
Coniston?
Yes.
Tanner?
Yes.
McCourt?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
The motion has passed for approval of the civil service rule changes.
Mr. President?
Yes.
May I be excused?
Yes. It's our second opportunity for poll public. If anyone would like to address council, this is your last opportunity for the evening.
I would like to.
All right, please step forward, state your name and address for the record. You have up to 3 minutes.
My name is Clinton Elmore, and I reside at 645 Fairway Boulevard. And I appreciate all of your time here. And I'll try to be as brief as I can because I have two things that have been weighing heavily on my heart. I've spent the last 30 years of my life coaching young children, mainly in the sport of soccer, but also basketball, baseball, and spending as much time as I can with them. I retired from that recently, and I find myself now spending time, especially the last 4 or 5 months, rallying, marching, speaking before the Attorney General, occupying police stations, and the like in response to the deaths at the hands of some of the police officers around the country, and even more recently within our state. Spent quite a bit of time on the John Crawford issue, the young man that was shot at a Walmart for carrying a BB gun. Very tragic, spoke with his family, and I'm telling you, it's a real tragedy. We've all seen on the news recently that people around the country are now, we've seen what happened in Ferguson. We've seen how the incident in Ferguson, how it has really broke down that neighborhood of Ferguson. The community is suffering. The relationship between the police and the community is suffering. Michael Brown's family is suffering. Businesses are suffering. And I've spent so much time marching and rallying and doing all this, and it's all been in reaction to what I'm seeing going on around me. And to be honest with you, after this 12-year-old boy was shot in Cleveland, it just hit me. This reacting is just not working. Okay, so now I have to think about being proactive. And I've been here about a year now, and I love this place, man. It's really, really nice. And I've never experienced any misconduct with the police or anything like that. But I would like for the city of Whitehall, the mayor, and our safety director and our police department to consider being proactive about what can we do to improve community relationships, to build that trust, to where if there is an incident that happens, you know, we're starting with a little bit of level of trust, and I think that's important. What I also see is really important is the truth. We really don't know what happened in that Michael Brown thing. We weren't there. We don't have video coverage of it. So I'm asking you all, if it hasn't been considered already, and I know the president has spoken of it recently, but I wanted to speak to you all about this a month ago, but just haven't had the opportunity to do so. But I think we should really consider the use of body cameras for our police department to protect our police. If they are doing their job correctly, then this will prove that. It will protect our community. I know that they have been used in communities around the country, even as close as Sunbury, Ohio. Many countries are seeing a great reduction in the incidence of police misconduct and abuse. And I think it will be a big step. And I know that they're talking about the federal government's going to put money towards this and all that, but these things aren't that expensive. I've done a little research. They're not that expensive. I understand we've just passed a budget, but I would ask that we amend that budget to include the body cameras for our policemen to protect our community and to protect our police, and so that we're starting, if there is an incident, because it's just, this can happen so quick. If there is an incident, we can start with the truth. The other thing that concerns me, and I haven't heard any speak of it, is that I read recently in a report when I did my research that Whitehall has been named the most dangerous city in Ohio, where it says 1 out of 10 of our residents, may become a victim of a crime. I have, between my wife and I, we have about that many in our family. So that really concerns me, and I'm wondering if there's been discussion about that, and what is Whitehall doing to reduce that crime rate. So I thank you all for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Paul Foley? All right, first I'm going to ask if the mayor would like to, because we have discussed, or the safety director, to that erroneous report about how dangerous it is for citizens here in Whitehall. The numbers are very skewed. I can't tell you how they do it, but maybe one of them can.
Yes.
I don't mean to put anybody on the spot, but
It's okay, I've been answering this question ever since that report came out. They took our crime stats from 2012 and they, this is from one of those alarm companies that sell these security alarms. This is where all this is coming from. And they took property crime, which also includes shoplifting in with all property crime. And so that's really what brought our rates up, because we do have a large amount of shoplifting that we have to respond to at a certain store that's within our city limits here. Unfortunately, because of just that one store, that has definitely caused much of the increase, and that's what most of our crime stats were based on. We did have a murder in 2012, but it actually did not happen in Whitehall. The body was actually dumped in Whitehall. So that became our problem. As for some of the other things, I think that I can probably give you graphs and such. The chief of police did a presentation at Faith Lutheran Church just a couple of weeks ago regarding this issue, and our crime is actually lower than it was years ago. So our crime stats are going down, but unfortunately, the shoplifting is counted as a property crime against residents, even though it's not against residents, if you understand what I'm saying. So unfortunately, that report is erroneous, and it's counting things that probably don't have much to do with, well, I won't say much, but makes it seem more larger than the problem really is, because when you shoplift at a store, you're shoplifting against the store, not against residents. So that was the big issue there. And yes, we are currently discussing body cameras. So I just wanted to let you know that. And definitely when Michael Brown's death took place, the safety director called a meeting with the chiefs of police and the lieutenants, and also the fire department as well, as we do heavily lean on each other to determine, what can we be more proactive. So we are going through some of those steps. So I just want to let you know it hasn't been ignored. The safety director, acted on that pretty quickly after that happened. We're all concerned, definitely, about our relationships between our police and our residents, and definitely, we're very concerned that things can go spiral out of control, and we do know that this can happen very quickly. If you look at the 1960s, early 1970s, and unfortunately, that doesn't seem to have taught us much, because apparently we don't remember. So thank you so much for bringing that up. I really appreciate it this morning. Thank you.
I concur.
And let me ask a question. I seem to vaguely recall somewhere along the line the chief making a statement one time that 90+% of the arrests that are made in Whitehall have nothing to do with the people in Whitehall. It's drive-through crime. Is that a fair statement? Am I saying that correctly?
I'm not sure about the percentage, but it is pretty high, yes.
I thought it was higher than that, but I didn't want to spread it. Yeah. So, and that's comforting to know that if you committed a crime and you drive through Whitehall, you're probably going to get arrested. So I think that's a really good thing. All right. So, anyone else have anything for whole public consideration?
Leo Noblock, 353 Fairway Boulevard. Just to continue on with the other statement, since I was on council and I'm in WCPA and all that, I did do quite a few ride-alongs with the police officers and talked to them, and they said that arresting people, it's like they only arrest like one person from Whitehall like every 3 or 4 months. I mean, it's a long stretch. It's not like all the time. And actually, this came up before because there was the same kind of study. I believe it was like 5 or 6 years ago, and they just took the number of arrests that were reported and said it was really bad, when we just happened to report everything instead of hiding stuff. So the other thing was, I guess the last committee meeting, there was some statements made about the WCCA, and one is the WCCA had decided not to try to run the events that were created for the fireworks night because the people in the WCCA said we can't get off work in time to try to run that. So they only voted on the 3rd, about the 3rd, not the rest of the events. I'm only going by what I've heard second or third hand, so excuse me if I incorrectly say. We were trying to get Murray Brothers to run the events for the other days. They said they're not interested because they couldn't do it on the fireworks night where they really make money. I talked to Deb Murray several times about that, and so now the other one, from what I heard, was said that I did not call Deb Murray about the bouncy houses and stuff. No, I did not, because it didn't fit the mandate of the committee saying no rides. Also, I didn't think she would want to haul all of her just bouncy houses things up here and not make a whole lot of money, because it wouldn't be by ticket, it would just be a flat rate. So I just figured they were getting a decent deal here in town, so I just let it go. And I did call her several times about the days prior to the 4th. I also wanted to bring up the reason why the WCCA was restarted. Originally, it was the Whitehall Civic Community Celebration, or Civic. Yeah. Sorry. And then it became the Whitehall Community Celebration Association. The reason why it was restarted was to help out the city. The city took it over for a couple years and said, this is too much damn work. Can you help us out? And they got with the McRae's and they got the whole organization started again. It's just a shame that sounds like the city doesn't want to talk to us anymore, just do what we say kind of thing. It should be a cooperation. So that's what my board had asked me to bring up to you all. So that's what I'm doing. Thank you very much.
So Leo, I'm confused. What you said at the beginning, on your piece of paper, you said that Deb Murray, they wanted you to call Deb Murray about bouncy houses?
Yeah.
I didn't even know she had bouncy houses.
Yeah, she has them there at she only has one, well, she only brings up one, but she may have more. I just never called to ask about it because she hates using them because there's a lot of liability, people falling out, all that kind of stuff. She doesn't like doing them. She has one because people like it, but it's a real pain watching it and monitoring it and everything else. So plus hauling all that equipment up here when the other people were right in the area. I just didn't think that she would come up here for it. Just talking to her about it, she hates them. Well, like I said, it's the liability and the monitoring, the supervision. It's just a real pain. So
when did you actually talk to her about the carnival? That was right after. Let's see.
And I don't mean to sound disrespectful, but,
I
I think this is a
understand.
good discussion. However, I think that not in full public, but rather in, committee, under community involvement. Next Tuesday, if Leo can attend and have this discussion and not in full.
Sure,
public.
I'll, maybe. There's a lot of events going on with the schools next week, so I have to relook at my calendar. That's
I'm just confused.
my only concern. And the first statement I had was the WCCA had voted and decided not to do the 3rd because most people couldn't get off work. I was about the only one that said I could for sure be off work. And trying to set everybody up and do all that other stuff, they felt that there wasn't enough people to actually be able to do that. So.
Well, my only comment is, WCCA definitely has been a huge help to our community in many different things, not only the 4th of July. And I just hate to see, a separation between us and WCCA. So definitely, I hope you'll come next week and maybe you can contribute.
I said I'll try. I just have to relook at my schedule. That's all.
You lost a license or a permit. Somebody help me here. What is that called?
501.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Got your 501?
No. We're trying to work on getting it back. But that doesn't matter.
Thank you.
You're right.
But that,
Right, this, we're carrying on-
excuse me,
we're carrying on too long here.
can I please return the answer? It doesn't matter according to ordinance. It doesn't matter according to ordinance.
Okay, so you exceeded your time.
Okay, no problem.
But if council has questions, you should be able to.
And I think it was a very good suggestion that we could have someone from WCCA come and speak to council during a committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. And again, I don't mean to sound disrespectful to anybody, but I have some things I'd like to ask, and this is not the forum, it's in full public, so.
Is there anyone else who would like to address council this evening? All right, we'll move on to community day report.
Tomorrow, December 3rd, the Rams Sports Club is having a meeting over at the high school in the media center. I would strongly urge you to try to get involved with this organization. They're the alumni. They're the athletic association. They're the ones that fund all of the sports at the high school. And right now they're in need of supporters. They're in need of people to keep the organization going. And I would hate to see that organization go down. They put out scholarships every year to several students, usually 5. That would go to the wayside, and also they help out every sport organization. I don't think they've ever turned down if somebody has comments that they needed uniforms or they needed equipment. They've always stepped up and they've always been able to help them out. And that's tomorrow at 6 o'clock in the media center. Next week is WCCA meeting on Monday, December 8th. At 6:30 over at Whitehall Community Park. Anybody that would like to voice their concerns, their ideas, you are welcome at that time. Immediately afterwards, we're going to have some fun, go over to Buffalo Wild Wings and talk about our community picnic for the 4th. While all these ideas are fresh in our mind, we want to write them all down and get working on that. Again, that's December 8th, that's on a Monday. And then December 13th, which is a Saturday, will be Breakfast with Santa. And this year it's going to be over at Etna Road Elementary, and it'll be from 9 to noon. And if you like the Capital University cheerleaders, they will be there again at Breakfast with Santa. They're trying to help out the community in Bexley and in Whitehall, and they're doing a great job. They built 39 tables, I think it was, for at the Furniture Day. So it was a new world record. They broke mine. So if you can't, call it out. Breakfast with Santa.
Your sports club meeting tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
What time is that?
Is at 6 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
And I would like to add that actually, then we can discuss it at the meeting afterwards. All right, that brings us, does anyone else have anything for full council?
Community Day Board, how about that?
I'm sorry. Community Day Board. You're up.
Next week will also be the judging of the house decorations from Monday through Thursday. We kindly ask you please keep on your lights till 11 o'clock so we can figure out times because other people are really busy and it's so for people to go out and judge all the houses. Also at the Breakfast with Santa, we also have Beechwood. We'll do a little concert, Beechwood kids, and choir and band from Rosemore. So another entertainment that's going on at the Breakfast with Santa.
Anything else for Community Day Board? Now we're going to vote. Well, we just did that. How about full council? And we'll begin with Mr. Bailey.
Welcome, and I think it's an exciting project that you're about to do. It gives a lot back to our community, which all the things you shared, we're desperately in need of. Mayor, lights are great. I'd like to thank the service department for their hard work to do that. You pass that along. I'd like to recognize the best band in the land. They come out here every year and perform for us. Karen, can you pass along a thank you to the cheerleaders? I appreciate that. Leo, WCCA providing the refreshments. I think that's great. And Brent, I don't know if you go by Grandpa, Paul, or what, but
Grandpa right now.
Congratulate you, and I was going to have you share that news, but you did that already, and I appreciate it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'll use the rest of my time to.
Mr. Gray.
Well, thank you all for coming and welcome to Whitehall. It's been a job that you put a lot of effort into it and the job that was presented to us. Pretty excited about that. And Mr. Elmore, appreciate your comments. Leo, thank you. And also it was, the lighting tonight was, we had pretty good attendance and everything seems, pretty excited for December here, and I hope everybody has a good holiday. We'll see you again.
All right, Ms. Thompson.
Thank you so much. I'm excited. The building looks beautiful. Finally, Hamilton Road is looking alive. We're priority designs, and now we've got this, and we're going to be getting some resurfacing done, and Hamilton Road's going to be looking really good with the new airport and everything. The one thing that I would like to add is I was so excited that we got new decorations out there, but I would really like to see us add a little bit of diversity with those, and so maybe next year we can look into maybe adding some some Kwanzaa, some Hanukkah.
I have been looking at those.
Oh, wonderful.
So, and I'll probably need your expert opinion.
All right, that's what I want to hear. Thank you all for coming, and hope to see you next time.
Mr. Tanner.
Thank you, Mr. President. Welcome to Whitehall. Great improvement. Thank you so much. I want to thank everybody for coming. I wasn't out here tonight for the first time since I've been on council for the lighting, but I had a really good advantage as I came from the high school from watching my son play basketball tonight. The lights are phenomenal. And I had that, I just looked and went really slow, so I knew I had a few minutes to get here. You did good on decorations. Thank you, man. They look really good. Your cookies and your baking also today look really good. And again, for the third year in a row, I've asked where were they at, so I know Mr. Grant was interested in meeting them. Hey, there was an article this morning in the Dispatch. Seth McDowell. He was sworn into the Oakland Police Department. I'd like to say congratulations. Congratulations to him and his mom and his dad very well. He always come down my street. He was a huge Cincinnati Bengals fan. I think everybody knows I'm a Browns fan. And he'll do really good. I know his dad would be proud of him. His mom's proud of him. I just want to say congratulations. I know you'll see. And that's all I have.
All right, Ms. LaFord.
Oh my goodness, I don't want to repeat everything 3 times, but I just want to say thank you because it's so property is going to be beautiful, and I'm really excited to see that, sitting there on the corner of Hamilton and Broad. So thank you for choosing Whitehall and bringing that beautiful, building to, us. And I saw that priority design, put a door in today on the front door, so I mean, it's just moving along. Going to repave next year, as Karen said, so, and, you know, to what you were saying, we have big problems, bigger than that are touching people right now with the diversity and all of that. And I just hope that, you know, through the holiday season, you know, we all can find peace and just, you know, try to just accept and cope and deal with everything that we do have to face. I keep telling my kids, go have more kids. This world's just, you know. So I do, it's a worry for me with my grandkids growing up to what will continue going on. But the more we can protect and, as you say, be proactive, and making sure that we don't get into these situations. I mean, Ferguson, I just can't even imagine if I lived in that community, just how horrible it would be right now for the holidays. So, other than that, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and hopefully people will come back out before then and join us some more.
Mr. Morrison.
Thank you, Mr. President. We'd like to thank everyone for coming, and I could make a 20-minute speech to repeat everything. Appreciate y'all coming downstairs and all your input, and welcome to Whitehall. Appreciate your input, and that's all I have.
Well, I can't even say I'm not going to repeat anything because that's already been said. I do want to say that we appreciate your comments. We're always tickled to death when we get a new business in Whitehall, especially one that I think would be a benefit to the large senior citizen community that we have here. So I'm very happy about this project. And I just want to thank everyone for coming out this evening. And we had no other official business coming before us, so I was therefore.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Please, is Janice. I would like to move to adjourn.
I have a motion by Mr. Bailey, a second by Mr. Tanner for adjournment. Mr. Please call the roll.
Bailey?
Yes.
Gregg?
Yes.
Coniston?
Yes.
Tanner?
Yes.
McCord?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
All right, we are adjourned. Let's go back to our next meeting.
At about 5:45 in the morning.
Where they go?